Candace, we have some exciting things to talk about today.
Okay.
But first, let's talk about the fact that this is going to be a little bit shorter episode. So if you're seeing this in your list, friends, just know Candace and I have a lot going on right now. So you may see a couple shorter episodes here, but we wanted to continue to release for a couple of different reasons. The first being we just love connecting with you. We love providing Disney content to all of you. The second piece is if we break up our release schedule, it potentially impacts algorithms, that kind of thing. So we want to make sure that we're staying consistent. But today's episode, just because we're going shorter, we're short on time, doesn't mean we don't have a lot of exciting things to talk about, right, Candace?
Correct.
So, friends, sit back, grab a drink. Well, probably do that in reverse order.
Wait a minute. Strike that. Reverse it. Thank you.
Grab a drink, sit back, and come talk to us about a brand new Disney park. Hey, welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
And I'm Candace. We're here to chat all things Disney as child-free Disney adults. Stories, snacks, and a little magic along the way.
Grab a drink and get comfy and come hang out with us. Okay, Candace.
Yes.
You have self-admitted that you know absolutely nothing about Disney's planned new park in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, correct?
I know they're building it, and I know it's in Abu Dhabi, but that's my limit. I have not taken the time to dig in just because of everything we have going and
Right.
mental capacity and all these other things.
Yeah, just there's a lot going on.
Mhm.
So I, on the other hand, when I saw what came out, I started Googling everything I could find. So I actually have a few things that I want to get your reaction to. So the fact that you've not done much research is not a bug for this episode. I'm calling it a feature for this episode.
Okay.
So we're going to go through the first part of this episode is going to be all around first reactions. What's your gut reaction to them building a park in Abu Dhabi?
I think it's an interesting choice.
Okay, tell me more.
I think that particular part of the world is a little underserved by Disney, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens up a bigger demographic and more land grab, if you will, for the company. I also think it's interesting, and I think we are going to see fewer, and this could be a benefit, not saying that it's not going to be. I think we could see fewer American guests
Mm-hmm.
flocking there. So it could be a more intricate experience. Is that the word I'm looking for? Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah. Because even Disneyland Paris, I don't think is completely. I don't know. It doesn't seem as exotic. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
Right.
As some of the parks in Asia and now what will be Abu Dhabi.
Right.
I think that particular area of the world, for me anyway, seems a little more unfamiliar
Right.
and maybe would be lower on my list of, yeah, let's go do that.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly, when I first heard about it, I thought just the opposite. There is so much money in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and the fact that we may get into this, I don't know if we'll get into this or not, but the fact that it's being 100% funded by the Mirar Group, who is funding all the other theme parks that are being built in Abu Dhabi right now, like a price tag of $10 billion has been placed on this
Shoo.
so far.
Wow.
So huge investment. Disney's not fronting a penny of it, which if you think about this is going to be a hot take, so please don't kill me for this. If you think about the highest quality Disney parks right now, they're not owned by Disney.
Yeah.
I think it's Tokyo Disney Sea and the Tokyo Disneyland, I think are owned by the Oriental
Something or another.
For some reason, I'm thinking Oriental Trading Company,
And
but
that's
that
not
is
it.
not 100. That is not even close to being correct.
No. But I know what you're
Yeah,
Oriental Holding something.
yeah. It's owned by
Yes.
another company, and Disney licenses the characters and
Yes.
sets the standards and all of that. But it is run and operated by not Disney.
Yes.
And I think by doing that in Abu Dhabi, with all the money that's there, I think it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not going to be fantastic. I just don't know because I'm not familiar with that area of the world. And you know me,
Right,
I'm a little more hesitant to say, sure, let's go,
right. Yeah,
because I don't know.
yeah. And the other thing, like the 90s kids in us think of that area as what?
Dangerous.
Desert and
Yep.
dangerous. It's smacked right between Oman and Saudi Arabia.
Right. Yeah.
So like our heads go to two Gulf Wars.
Right.
Do you really want to go to a Disney park that's in the middle of an area that's always at war? And I know that's me being what's the word I'm looking for? Like being tied to old thoughts, whatever the single word for that would be. But yeah, it's just interesting. I think it's everything I've seen about Dubai and UAE. I think I if they get it done in enough time for us to be at a spot where we want to do some fancy travel, I think it's a place we would go.
Okay.
Which leads me into my next question, and we haven't talked about this at all, so it's going to be a surprise question for you.
Dun dun dun.
Dun,
Dun
dun,
dun.
dun. Candace,
Yes.
what do you think of the idea of an entirely indoor Disney park?
I think that's fantastic. It would be like the weather dome that is over
Yeah,
Florida, supposedly.
yeah. The entire
But
park is going to be
there would,
indoors.
well, and that makes sense because that location, I mean, I don't know what the weather is like other
It's
than hot
hot,
all the
and
time,
that's why they're doing it.
but like to a point of not being able to have queues that have enough fans in them to keep people comfortable and alive and those kinds of things. So I think that's fabulous.
Yeah,
As long as it's kept to a standard that everything stays clean and doesn't smell and
that was
all,
my first thought
all of
is
these other
if it's
things.
not ventilated well, it's going to smell like a toilet within about 2 days.
Yep. Or BO and toilet,
Right.
which no thank you.
None of that is good.
No,
None of that is
not at
good.
all.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I read that and I'm like, indoor park. That's what everybody thinks Florida is.
Mhm.
They think there's just a dome over it that they can close.
Which, spoiler alert, friends, there is
There
not.
is not. Don't ask.
Don't say that to anybody.
Right.
Because just no.
Yeah. So my last first reaction question for you, and I
Okay.
mentioned this to you right before we started recording, so it's not as much of a surprise. What is your first impression of a modern Crystal Castle? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Confused by it?
I guess that is the first indication. And again, I'm going into this statement with absolutely no knowledge whatsoever. So please forgive my assumption of where I'm headed with this. That's the first sign to me that it may not be as Disney as what maybe we're used to in the park. Well, definitely not used to in the parks, but
Right,
maybe something that people are going to have to get used to.
right.
I don't mind the idea. It's throwing a little Frozen to me, which
Yeah,
I know it's not that. I'm happy it's not that, knowing how I feel about that
right.
franchise.
That we know. All we've seen is concept art that makes it look a little Frozen-esque. So
Right.
it very well could be Elsa's Ice Castle.
If it is Elsa's Ice Castle, I hope they pick up every other piece of Frozen IP that they have put in the parks and dump it there and just leave it.
There's your hot take.
And bring back the Maelstrom and bring back the Dreamlights on the castle and bring back all the other things that they have taken away for that horrid franchise to dump that into the parks. Take it all away, put it in Abu Dhabi, and let's go.
There you go. There's Candace's wish list. Bob Iger, if you're listening, that's
Josh
what Candace
tomorrow,
wants.
let's
Right.
let's talk.
I wonder if Josh he's over the Parks division, right? So he has a say there.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so the castle concept feels culturally like the concept art is spirally and kind of multiple tiers of like you think about Dubai and Abu Dhabi and that like the
So some of the
UAE,
symbolism in the culture.
right?
Okay.
Like and very again, I'm gonna keep going back to this. I think there's a reason why they picked where they did, and it's because of the amount of money that flows in and out of there. It feels very upscale. So this isn't one of the questions that I had, but I wonder, do you think they're building this there to go after a more affluent client
I do
base?
believe that. I think they're trying to get away from Americans coming in and screwing up their parks.
Right. And wanting everything for as cheap as possible.
Yes.
They're wanting to create, my guess is they're wanting to create an experience that you pay $400 a day to get in and you're one of or $1,000 a day, whatever it ends up being to get in, and you're one of 10,000 people that day.
Mhm.
I wonder if that's not what they're kind of going for.
I think that's sort of because honestly, like with their parks here, and granted, we haven't been to Disneyland yet. Um, like I think they've taken the experiences here as far as they can
Right.
without making people just riot about exclusivity.
Right. Yeah.
And so why not just build that and go with that from the jump, knowing full well that 90% of the population is not going to be able to afford it.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. And that kind of jumps into my next section about sort of the global strategy that Disney's taking. And one of my questions was like, what do you think the audience is trying to reach? So we got there, so I don't have to ask that question. So, but the other question is, do you think Disney should be building more international parks, or should they be improving the ones they already have? And this is, let me finish my thought here and then I'll let you weigh in because this is an interesting concept. Because in this case, it's not costing Disney a damn penny
Right.
to
So why
do,
wouldn't they?
but improving US based parks is going to cost them billions of dollars
Mhm.
over the course of that same time frame, where this is just them making money.
But at the same time, I think it's important that since this is not costing them any money, the money that they would be thinking about investing in another park in the States or something like that that has kind of been on the radar a little bit and talked about, but
Mhm.
kind of been, I think they need to turn around and reinvest that money back into what they already have so it doesn't become trashy and outdated and broken and
Right.
dirty and all these other things that Walt was very
Yep.
specific about. Walter Elias Disney, founder of the company, wanted a park that was clean and could be utilized by the entire family, adults and children alike, and all have a good time and be safe and clean and all these other things. That came from Walt himself.
Yep.
So the fact that they're not spending money on another gate here in America, I think they need to do something with the money that was slated for that. And I don't necessarily think that new attractions are it.
Right.
I think they need to pick up some of what they put down already
Agreed.
and fix it.
Agreed.
Like reimagine Spaceship Earth appropriately, respectfully, sticking with the original edutainment piece of the puzzle. Get those damn screens out of those vehicles.
Yep.
Go back to what it was. Like maybe a throwback. Maybe that attraction always was meant to be retro. And so you throw it back to the Jeremy Irons iteration, not necessarily with him doing the narration. Hire somebody else to do the story, but turn the attraction back into the beauty that it was.
Right. Yeah, and so here, audience, if you want more of us this week, I just recently released a solo episode talking about some of the stuff for Tomorrowland in in Walt Disney World and Disneyland both, like retheming that and going back to maybe the original intent and calling it Walt's Tomorrowland. So go back and listen to that one. A lot of what Candace is talking about, even with something like Spaceship Earth, going back and becoming sort of the time capsule, do that while you're making other things and new around it to make it all feel together. There's a lot of goodness there. Here's the question that I have for you, though. Will Disney do that? Like, is this going to be impetus for them to clean up their act in owned parks?
Probably not, but it should be.
Right.
They're going to have to be careful because a lot of the new stuff that they're building and developing is fantastic. And like Guardians of the Galaxy, fabulous. Rise of the Resistance, one of the best attractions I've ever seen in a theme park.
Right.
But if they solely focus on brand new things and not keeping what they have as meaningful because it gets dirty or it breaks down all the time or it just looks neglected and shabby,
Yep.
that's a good way to lose people real fast.
Yeah, and Disneyland went through that in the 90s, the 80s and 90s,
Mm-hmm.
where people were just like, this is starting to look dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sort of went through a renaissance again, and I keep waiting for Disney to get back to that renaissance place. But here's the thing. We keep continuing to say we're willing to spend more and more money to go,
Mm-hmm.
even without that. What's their impetus to improve? If we are so diehard fanned that we're not willing to say, you know what, we're willing to go to Tokyo or Abu Dhabi instead of going to Florida, which they're not going to care. They get the money either way. But yeah, just an interesting
Yeah.
thought concept.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about theming for this new park.
Okay.
One of the taglines that came out in one of the articles I read said the park will be authentically Disney, distinctly Emirati. What do you think that could look like? Is it just all about the castle being different and it being indoor? Or is it going to be all gold plated? Is it going to be like, I don't know what that means.
That terrifies me actually. Um, the first thing I thought when you said that was like the flight attendants
Very true.
for Emirates.
Very
Am I
formal.
saying that
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Very formal, very polished looking, very beautiful, very like head coverings with the scarf and the whole and the red lip and the
Right.
whole just elegant, I
Right.
think. And maybe that's
There
what
it
it is.
is.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's just all elegant and I'm gonna die.
Yeah, because as you said, the flight attendants for Emirates, what popped into my head is like the best first class experience on any flight ever is on Emirates.
Right.
The service that they provide is probably comparable to what people think they're going to get at Disney.
Right.
So if it's built with that in mind, they're going to ratchet up. If they put Disney service on top of Emirates service, you may get like an entirely different service model and not know what hit you.
Right.
Okay, that sounds like it could be pretty cool. Just had a thought. They have to build some sort of an attraction around Genie, right? Around Aladdin.
I would think so.
And it can't just be like the magic carpets.
No.
This has got to be
Oh,
a roller coaster.
you remember when we talked about the Cave of Wonders attraction?
Yeah.
That's almost what this needs to be.
Yeah.
Like
Right?
they could build Agrabah as part of the thing and then put like a Cave of Wonders like roller coaster or thrill ride or some they could make carpet into the ride vehicles
Yeah.
and make it like a trackless system of some sort where you're actually flying through the Cave of Wonders and it could be a total thrill ride. Like it all starts with Apu grabbing that ruby
Yep.
and you have to make it out before the cave closes. Imagineering TM, call me.
Right. Call us. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that attraction idea. And I also, as you were talking, had a thought. Like, I know they've done concept art of the Crystal Castle, but why not do
The Sultan's
The
Palace?
Sultan's Palace.
Let's, I mean, let's just see what they come up with.
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking like because one of the questions I had, no IP has been tied to the castle yet. If you had to assign one, which would it be? That part of it would be Sultan's Castle
Probably.
or the palace. But again, that's probably not as flashy and showy. That you see that everywhere in that region. So they want something that's going to be unique and stand out, right?
Sure.
Right. Okay. So I think that's all. I did I talk to you about anything else? We talked price tag, we talked location, we talked indoor.
That's really all we know at this point.
Yeah, there's not a lot that's been announced yet because it was just announced like we're recording on May 10th. It was just announced on Monday, right? Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
So not too long ago. So again, don't expect us to be a news podcast. That's not who we are.
We
But
just had to bring this up because
this
it's like
is
the first park opening in like a generation.
yeah. So they're talking probably a year or two of a design phase and then probably 5 years of construction. Are we planning a 2032 trip to Abu Dhabi?
Quite possibly. Who knows? We may be living there by then.
That's true.
No one knows.
That's true. That's true. Call to our listeners. Are you excited about this? Is this a bold new venture or is this just a weird side quest that Disney decided to go on? What do you think? Um, we want you to tell us what you think about this new spot as well. So come out to our social medias, interact, tell us what you think.
And no answer is a wrong answer.
No, like that's the beautiful thing about talking about something that's 7 years away. Number one, the concept is going to change 1,000 times between now and when it opens. So we get to dream. We get to be the dreamers that Walt always wanted his patrons and his guests to be. So come out and dream with us and enjoy that with us. I think that's it. Anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I
Okay.
feel rather underprepared for this because I knew they were doing it, but that's all.
Yeah,
I knew.
I think that was a feature of this episode because my guess is a lot of our listeners are in the same boat that you were in, and now you feel like you know a little bit more about it, right?
I do, but I feel like I'm letting the listenership down because normally I'm the map, but this I went into and the map was upside down, backwards, and printed wrong.
Well, here's the thing: you're the map for places that exist.
Okay.
This does not exist yet. This is on a piece of paper.
I'll take it.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. I love the fact that you didn't know anything, and I was able to build this entire episode around you not knowing anything. So as we move into the coming weeks, just know I think we can share with our audience that Candace and I are in a show this summer.
Mhm.
So
It's a big one.
It's a big one, lots of prep. We're in a lot of the show, that kind of thing. So just know that we might have some shorter episodes like this as we go through at least June. But we got some big things planned as we come into later in the year. Excited to bring you along for the ride. And
Oh, and let's just provide an update. A couple episodes ago, we were talking about our upcoming trip
yes,
this fall, and we actually our booking window for our concierge experiences aboard Disney Cruise Line opens on Monday. So we sat down last night with all of the options and put together a list, and I did craft the email today and scheduled it to go out on Monday morning, very, very early.
12:01.
12:01 Eastern time.
Right. Yep, that's exciting. So maybe one of our next episodes coming up will be if we hear back on if we got our wish list or not.
Mhm.
We'll bring people along for the whole process of that as we go through the year.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Candace, remember, there's always a great big beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.